Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Adidas Sl20.2 version 2, just the SL20 as it says on the side of the shoe. Who knows what this shoe is called? All I know is that I've got a 100-mile review for you coming right up. But first, we've got the run footage from my tempo run this morning, where I took this shoe just over 100 miles to give you today's review. So yes, today we're going to be looking at this, the Adidas Sl20.2, I think is the correct terminology. However, if you look on Adidas's website, this shoe is just called the SL20 now, but it's definitely the updated version. There are a couple of really easy ways to tell, and we'll be talking about those throughout the review. As always, we'll be talking about the upper, the midsole and the outsole. I'll be telling you about the value, the way I use these shoes, and then giving my overall score. To begin, let's start with this rather dirty upper. The upper on the Adidas Sl20, as with all shoes at the moment, is an engineered mesh. However, this one has two layers. Two layered engineered meshes have benefits and they also have drawbacks. One of the biggest benefits I found with this shoe is that it is incredibly well fitting. The lockdown over the foot and around the forefoot is incredibly good. I've had absolutely no problems with slipping or any signs that my foot is going to be unstable within this shoe. However, the fact that there are two layers of mesh does mean this is an incredibly warm upper. It's not very breathable at all, at least in my experience. And I've been running with this shoe in 28-degree heat. It was 30 degrees this morning when I took it out for my tempo run. Your feet are definitely gonna get sweaty, but at least they won't slip around. When it comes to the heel counter, there's a nice amount of padding and it's relatively soft, although it does kind of hold its shape as you push. It's got a nice Achilles flare and I felt no tension, pain, blisters, anything on the back of my foot. The lower three lace loops are almost like little loops of fabric for the laces to go through, and then the top 2 or 3 holes are directly through the engineered mesh, with an extra hole to do a runner's knot if required, although I haven't found it necessary in this shoe. As I said, the lockdown is absolutely incredible. I really like the eyelet system as I feel like it really pulls all of that material towards the center, really snuggling down on your foot. My only gripe with this upper, other than the breathability issues, has to be the tongue. It's really thin, there's absolutely no padding, so if you're putting a lot of tension right at the top and not all the way down through the laces, I think you're going to run into some problems. Furthermore, this is a non-gusseted tongue, and when it comes to running shoes, I really do prefer semi or fully gusseted tongues. I think this would have really benefited from a gusseting system very similar to the Endorphin Speed, which blew me away in my review, which you can see in the top corner now. However, those are two relatively small gripes for me. Most running conditions, the upper performs excellent, so I'm going to give it a 2.7 out of 3. On to the midsole now, and this white and blue midsole is just light strike foam. This is one of the very few Adidas shoes that has solely light strike, and that creates a very interesting set of properties for this running shoe. Light strike is not an incredibly bouncy foam. Although I can stick my finger in it now, it definitely has a decent amount of spring back, but it is very firm. And that's the best way that I can describe the midsole of these shoes. Responsive and firm. Going at slower paces, you really don't get a lot back from this foam. You're mainly just hitting the floor over and over again. But as soon as you are putting more energy into this foam, it really starts to push you forward and you actually start getting that energy back. It's quite a deceiving foam. For my shorter race intervals around 5K, or for any tempo or threshold sessions, this midsole height is extremely good. That lower stack just means the shoe is lighter, it's more responsive, great for dodging around pedestrians. I really enjoy this midsole. However, if you have weak feet or weak ankles, or if you're newer to running, this midsole may not be for you, simply because it is so firm, and I can definitely see that if you haven't run a lot, you might run into some stress injuries if this is your first serious running shoe. I haven't noticed the foam change at all over my first 100 miles. It's been pretty consistent the whole time, which is really nice. I know this is a shoe that I can just stick on for any faster sessions and it'll always perform incredibly well. Overall, I'm going to give the midsole of the Adidas Sl20.2 a 2.8 out of 3. I'm just docking those 0.2 points simply because it's not mind-blowing. I really feel like if this was Lightstrike Pro, for instance, like something in the Adidas Adizero Adios Pro, that would have been a significantly more interesting shoe and given it slightly more pop and energy return. However, for the price this shoe comes in, which we'll talk about later in the value section, I really can't complain that much. Onto the outsole now, and just looking at this shoe, it is a striking outsole. We've got 2 patches of continental rubber in the front right and rear left of the shoe. These create a slatted design, and I feel like these are really, really good. We know continental rubber on Adidas shoes and on the tyres on my bikes are incredibly good, reliable, consistent, last forever, great grip, nothing bad to say at all in this case. One of the biggest things that separates this one from the original version of this shoe are these 2 new white and blue portions of the outsole on my model. I'm not sure if these are continental rubber, although they are a rubber and not just a continuation of the outsole. The diamond pattern with rough tops really adds to the traction in this shoe, meaning that I have absolutely no fear about running down gravel paths, maybe some light dirt with these without having to worry about losing traction. So if that's something you were looking at, might be better to get the second version of this shoe rather than the original one. There's very little to say when it comes to an Adidas outsole. As long as it's got continental rubber, you're going to win me over. I've got absolutely no changes in the tread pattern after 100 miles. They still look amazing. So it's an easy 3 out of 3 when it comes to the outsole for this shoe. So finally, let's talk about what I'm going to use this shoe for and how I think the value proposition of this shoe shapes up. So like I hinted earlier, I've been using this shoe for a range of higher paced runs and interval workouts specifically. Tempo runs, threshold runs, 400, 600, 800 meter repeats, even some hill reps. I've really put this pair of running shoes through its paces in my 100 miles. This is definitely not a shoe that you want to go easy in. As I said, the midsole makes that really not an option for this shoe, at least for my running style. I did take this out for one long run of just over 16 kilometers. However, by the end, my feet were really looking for a little bit more energy and a little bit more softness. The firmness of this shoe just means that it can be quite difficult to do seriously long runs in. However, for those tempo threshold days when you're doing, at least for me, between 10, 12 or 14 kilometers, this shoe really shapes up perfectly. As with the first Adidas Sl20, the Sl20.2 seems to continuously be on sale. I got mine a fair few months ago now for a really good deal. I got 25% off the list price. However, I've seen them since discounted to just over 50% off, which is incredible value when you can get the shoe from what I paid around £70 to closer to £50, depending on where you're getting it from. I genuinely have no idea what Adidas's pricing strategy is with this shoe, their marketing strategy, none of it. The fact that they produced a second version of the shoe while still calling it the same thing and not even publicising that at all. The fact that this second version was released and then almost instantly went on sale. Who knows? However, I have to say the value and the all-round performance of this shoe is incredibly, incredibly tempting. If I saw this shoe for closer to £40, I may even think about picking up a second pair just because I know I'm going to get so much use out of it. If you can get this shoe cheaply, I think it's a bargain. So I'm going to give, weirdly, 2 value scores. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 3 if you can get it on a discount. Anything for £70 or less is basically a no-brainer for me. If you're paying the full price, which is £100 in the UK, I still think it's a solid 2.7, 2.8 kind of range. However, seeing how much it's been discounted already, it just feels to me like you may as well wait and get it on discount again, or wait until the next weird thing that Adidas are going to do with this shoe. So that's the overall score. I'll put the score overall up here for the Adidas Sl20.2. Also, I love this colorway. The luminous yellow, the blue on the front going into the white is absolutely amazing. I love it. I love luminous running shoes. But let me know what you think of this shoe, not just the colorway, obviously. Have you had any differences in experience with this shoe? Have you got one? Are you thinking about getting one? Leave all of your opinions and comments down below and I'll aim to reply to all of them. Please consider liking and subscribing for more running shoe reviews and other triathlon related content. Until the next one, I'll see you later.